And we're live. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Sportsnite. And we are back and better than ever. And tonight we are going to have a lot of fun. Hope everybody's staying safe, everybody's staying smart, doing the right things. But welcome in. Thank you all for being here for a very special Sports Night, because tonight my buddy Steve over here and I have a very special guest. This guy down below, you all know him as Jeff. Well, actually, we know him as Jeff.
We know him as Jeff.
Go with Dad's in the house.
Hello.
Jeff, thanks for being here, buddy.
Thanks for the invite. Always love talking sports with my buds.
Oh, absolutely, bud. Thank you so much for being here. And, of course, my man over here, Steve. Thanks, bud.
Thank you. And unfortunately, Jeff, this is not going to be a Major League Baseball stream where we can just talk about the Dodgers the entire time.
I'm mad at China. We were going to go 162-0. I have no doubt it was China.
So we are going to they're just going to push the season back. We'll be all right. We'll still be in the field.
81-0. Good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, do you want to lose another? Do you want to lose a bet again? Do you want to
never answered me. If I owe you something, you need to tell me what I owe you.
I just being able to say that I won the bet's enough.
What bet did you win?
It was the field against the Dodgers.
2-0.
Oh.
No, you said the Dodgers were going to win the World Series, and I said no, they won't. That was it.
I remember you saying the Dodgers wouldn't win 100 games, and I took that bet, I thought. And they won more than I thought they would win.
You would maybe with him. You didn't.
No, it wasn't a real bet. We didn't bet. No.
It wasn't like anything on the line.
No, it wasn't. I just
want. Okay, I understand. You just want. Okay, well, there you go. Congratulations.
But if you'd like to make it a real bet this year, we can.
I probably do. I might be known to make a bet now and then.
No, Jeff, now there won't be a World Series. It's the only way the Dodgers don't win.
Oh, my God, please. You want to get in on it, too? You're going to put your foot in your mouth, too?
We won in 88, but before that, it was 81, going back into the Wayback Machine, and we needed like a half season to do that one. So maybe there's some hope. We're going to have a half season or something this year. Hi, Donna. Hey, DG. Hey, everybody. Hey, Rob.
Well, no, I'm just kidding with you guys. But we're talking football tonight. We will talk baseball for sure. But, yes.
I knew I loved Preston, by the way. Just got to throw that out there. Knew I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
And let's say hi to everybody in the chat. Eric Newman is here. He's first. Carlos Disney World Freak. By the way, Carlos went live this morning. Did a very good job. He did great. Carlos, congratulations, buddy. He went live at 8:30. Was on with Keith from It's Joey's World. Was on there. So that was a lot of fun. Captain Akron 27's here. Alex Bunner's here. Rob Fuzz is in the house. What's up, Rob? Good to see you. Let's see. D&G Explorers is here. Donna Jaworski, super mod, super woman, super wonderful person is here as well. Big Noah's in the house. What's up, Noah? Preston McDevitt's in the house. Tracy Glenn is here. Good to see you, Tracy. Hope you're doing good, bud. LSU mom Emily is in the house. Good to see you, Emily. Hope you're doing well. Team Marie Photography, and I think we are up to date for now. But tonight we are going to do a few opinions on some of the changes that have gone around in the world of the NFL, and there have been some big ones. It's been an active week and a half for sure in the NFL. They are not laying low.
Well, they're not allowed to do anything, but they're sure not opposed to sending players all over the place, and not just any players, like some big name players.
Yes,
the biggest name player of all time.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to talk about tonight. But before we do that, real fast on the channels, Steve, we're going to go to you next, but I got to start with my buddy Jeff down there. Jeff, what's going on with Dole Whip Dad? What do you got coming up down there?
Tomorrow night, Sunday, I've got 2 shows every Sunday night. DizTube, Wrestling with Disney this week. Next week, I've got Corey Meets World. You may have heard of him. Those are my next 2 weeks. And then right after that, that's at 8 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Eastern time, PM. And that show goes for an hour. Then I take a half-hour break, and then we do Creator Talk, which is with my co-host Lynn from the Lynn Project. And we talk about all things YouTube and creator. We're going to talk a little TubeBuddy this week. I got hooked up with the Legend license, and oh my gosh, I'm going to need a lot of. I'm going to need like 3 months off of work. Can anybody take care of that for me?
Maybe. See, I'm not off of work. They're making me work from home. So
I was about to say I wish, but I don't wish. Whatever. I'm not really off.
But good. That's great. Everybody be sure to check Jeff out tomorrow night. 2 live streams. Check him out. DizTube and then Creator Talk. And Steve, what about you, bud? What's going on with you?
Finally returning to a sense of normalcy in my life. When I started a new job, it was unbelievably busy. Like, I can't even explain to you what I had to do to get where the position I'm in now. But everything's on cruise control now. I finally got the this and that website done and all that. So now I'm able to focus on getting back to my stuff. I haven't put out a vlog in over a month and a half. maybe 2
I was
months.
on that website, by the way, today.
Yeah,
Pretty
you like
fun.
it?
I voted in a poll.
Nice. Well, we've got all kinds of stuff on there. It's like the breaking news about Onward being on there, and then of course the Star Wars run has been canceled, even though I accidentally got a medal somehow.
I should have signed up. That's my kind of running medal right there.
It's virtual, and I've done the running, but I haven't returned it or anything like that.
I was going to do one of those. Yeah.
And they sent me this medal, which is a pretty cool. You got the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, whatever it is there, and then it's got Chewie.
Oh, nice!
And it's really heavy. And you
my
flip
daughter
it
tried to
around.
talk me into signing up for that. I said yes, so he just never did.
It says "Let the Wookiee win."
That's fun.
So, and it's heavier than it's heavy. It's a real medal. I was shocked that they even sent it because I didn't even turn in the times yet. I got till the end of the month, and I don't know if it was by accident or if it was
Probably
what
with
it was.
everything going on.
Well, that's true.
They canceled everything and they're giving people their monies back. So I'm not sure how I got this medal because supposedly they're going to refund me it, which I obviously won't take the refund if that's the case, but they're refunding this medal too.
Let me ask you this. Is that medal dated?
I don't know.
Because that's probably, I was going to say, if it's dated, they can't keep them anyway.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So
it does say 2020 on it.
That's why. Why. They can't keep it anyway.
Yeah, but they've got all the other medals from the other races too.
They'll probably send them out.
Yeah.
I would love it. I've signed up for them, so I would love to get them. But anyway, then I would have to go out here and vlog it, run, and everything else just to make sure. But anyways, I'm back to normalcy and being able to get my just do laps in your house with Disney music. I do listen to Disney music when I run, but so I'm back to normal, and I'll be starting to be able to do vlogs and all kinds of stuff. So
awesome, great, awesome. And on our end, we did a couple vlogs the last couple days with some cool stuff, and then other than that, there are streams on Tuesdays and Saturdays right here. We got a lot going on down here, so we're going to be in this type of setting for a little bit while we get everything straightened out. And of course, the whole coronavirus is kind of slowing the whole process down, so hopefully we'll have some normalcy as well. I get what you're saying. But let's get right into it, Steve. We're going to start, like we said, tons of news in the NFL. They have really given us something to talk about. Lots of players changing teams. And what we're going to do is we're going to go by team, kind of talk about them and give our take on them, whether we think it'll help the team, whether it's going to hurt the team, maybe the team that lost the player, the team that gained the player, and kind of go one by one and talk about it. How'd that sound, guys? Good?
sounds great.
All right, perfect.
So first up is the Arizona Cardinals, and they obviously have an incredible move here, but they've made a few different changes in one-year contracts to some linebackers, not huge names. They signed defensive tackle Jordan Phillips to a 3-year agreement. But the big move here that they made, which might be they got the good end of the deal, is they made a trade with the Houston Texans to pick up wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins.
Did you say maybe? Did I hear maybe?
Maybe the greatest trade in history.
Or the worst
for them.
Side you're on.
They acquired DeAndre Hopkins and a 2020 4th-round pick from the Texans for David Johnson, a 2020 2nd-round pick, and a 2021 4th-round pick. So David Johnson, who used to be an elite running back, first off, you got to compare running backs to wide receivers. Wide receivers have a much better longevity. David Johnson was about as bad as you could be last year. And nobody seems to understand why, but that's what they did. They traded DeAndre Hopkins away and received they traded David Johnson away and they received DeAndre Hopkins.
What year is DeAndre Hopkins in his contract?
What year in his contract?
I'm just curious. A lot of times you'll see that. I know that like for instance, the Rams, when they let the cornerback go, gosh, I'm drawing a blank. He went to the Ravens. He was in the final year of his contract. They weren't going to re-sign him.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on his name.
So he's owed $39.9 million over the next 3 years, which is a bargain. And the problem is he wanted that's $13.1 million a year. He was trying to get a deal with the Texans. He wanted to restructure for $18 to $20 million a year, right? And they traded him instead.
Right, and what that falls to is that's now Arizona's problem.
It is for 3 years, yeah, but they get him for 3 years, whether they sign a new contract or not.
It's Arizona's problem. It's Arizona's.
I would say that's a good.
Yeah, Jeff, he could hold out.
I would say that's a good problem.
He could hold out.
If he doesn't want to play, if he doesn't want to play for 3 years, that's on him.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean,
He
How many
gets to
times
go to
have you
Kyler
seen
Murray.
players-
Look, if you told me, first off, if I was Arizona, I'd be reworking the deal anyways. Second off, if you told me I can have DeAndre Hopkins and it's worth the risk, I know it's a lot of money, but if it's worth the risk of him, getting him at 13.1 million and then restructuring his contract, I'm not gonna. And all I got to do is get rid of David Johnson for it. I'm jumping all over that, especially since they've got they retagged Kenyon Drake as well. So.
I understand. I'm not saying it's not a good move for Arizona, but there's reasons why these teams. I mean, Houston's a good team. They're a playoff contending team.
It's
Arizona's going nowhere.
Is it O'Brien? It's the coach. He didn't like
Bill
him.
O'Brien.
There was all kinds of rumors that I won't even repeat, but they're pretty brutal. And DeAndre Hopkins is elite, and Kyler Murray's throwing it all over the field, and they've got a great receiver on the other side. DeAndre is going to do great on the field and going to the bank, and it's stupid. And Bill O'Brien will be fired before the end of the next year.
Sure.
There you go.
I think Houston made a terrible mistake here.
It's horrible.
I get sometimes you go into rebuilding mode and things like that to dump your contracts. Like Walt just said, though, these guys are a contender. This was the wrong move for them.
Look at the David Johnson contract. If you want to talk about contracts, they also took on more money with less value.
Yes.
So this was stupid.
Yeah. There's got to be an underlying reason for this.
O'Brien did not like Hopkins' urban mentality.
Well, see, so they were paying. They were paying. That's a good way to put it, Jeff. They were paying Hopkins $13.1 million. They're paying every single penny of Johnson's contract, which is $10.2 million a year. So
apparently, right before it happened, and I don't know if this is real or not, but I've seen it all over the internet, or whatever that's worth. Conversation with O'Brien towards Hopkins about he's a lot like Aaron Hernandez, which I would say is the wrong thing to say to
anybody
football player who you want to play on your team.
Well, and
I don't want to be compared to Aaron Hernandez either.
And for the record,
like that at all.
This was Houston's doing. They wanted David Johnson. They went to seek David Johnson before and the price to pay was DeAndre Hopkins, and they took it.
Apparently, they missed the last season. Yes.
So, all right. So that's the main hitters for Arizona. Of course, then we move on to the Atlanta Falcons, who signed these massive names running through the league this year. They released Devontae Freeman first off, which was huge.
Yeah.
He's been there. He's been a staple for them forever. But they went back and forth with a few people, but the big one that they got is they signed Todd Gurley to a 1-year contract.
Who did?
Again, the Falcons signed Todd Gurley. He was released by the Rams, and they signed him. Now that is a massive upgrade for them. I was shocked when they got rid of Freeman. Todd Gurley's, in my opinion, still on top of his game.
Well, if he plays,
that's true. I think they got a steal here with Todd Gurley.
Maybe. I mean,
maybe.
I watch look, the Rams are my team. I watch every single Rams game. Gurley's not the same player. But I'm telling you, he's got hear me out.
Yep.
He's got a knee injury. There's something going on there.
Clearly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, he does.
He didn't even play in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
He doesn't have the explosiveness that he has had. And when these go, players are done.
Yep. Well, first off, he's only 25 years old. So
I get you. Yeah.
But they signed him for a $5 million, 1 year, $5 million.
Yeah.
He's about at the average. He's a little ahead of or about at the average of life expectancy of an NFL running back.
Usually, yes. Yeah. I agree with you, Steve. I think it's worth the risk, especially for the price that they're paying. It's 1 year, $5 million. That's nothing. I get you. But if they're expecting Todd Gurley of the Rams when they went to the Super Bowl, you're not going to get that guy. Maybe.
It's all dependent. I mean, this is a great deal if he plays.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
And if he plays, they got him for a steal.
So he could be the MVP.
If he plays well.
That's how good he was.
Yes.
Said, I don't pay a running back. And so I'm a Cowboy. I'm a Cowboys fan. Chargers fan because I'm a Chargers fan. Cowboys fan because I live where I live. So we've got Zeke Elliott, who I think is one of the top 2 or 3 talents in all of the NFL. That said, I wouldn't pay a running back. I wouldn't pay a running back. I'm of the Al Davis, Mike Shanahan belief on a running back. Give me a third rounder or a fourth rounder every year. You'll
make do. You'll make do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather have a left tackle and a center than a running back any day of the week.
I agree with Jeff on that, but at the same token, I'm willing to pay a running back 2 to 3 years. I'm not going to pay him because of their short life.
Gurley's on year 4 and 5. I think I'm right.
Yeah. I wouldn't go past 2 or 3.
I don't think they gave up a lot. I would not personally, if I'm the general manager of any NFL team, I'm not putting my resources in any running back. Now, I was happy when the Cowboys drafted Zeke because he was elite, but we're at the end of Zeke, and he's already probably a Hall of Fame level running back because they're only 4, 5, 6 year. I mean, Jim Brown's gone, Walter Payton's gone, but anyway, that's just what I think.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank Gore's still playing.
I know, right? I love that guy. My good,
he's been playing for 25 years.
That guy proves me wrong. My goodness.
Sometimes it works. Okay, moving on to the Baltimore Ravens. They really haven't done anything. Sorry.
They got Calais Campbell.
They other than the fact that they got defensive end Calais Campbell from the Jaguars. They signed him. It's not bad. They needed a whole lot more help than that, I think.
Oh, I don't. What?
They're saving the best team in the NFL last year. I don't even like them.
I think they got. I don't know. I think they got. They will not repeat that success.
Wow,
that's another. You can write that one down, but that's another story for another.
Well, that's obvious. What did they do? Go 14-2? Yeah, it's going to be hard to go 14-2 again.
They won't. They may not make the playoffs this year.
Whoa! I'll take that bet.
The only reason why I think they will make the playoffs is because they'll win their division, but they will not.
Well, that's pretty good enough for me.
Well, their division, they could win their division at 9-7 though.
Yeah, the Patriots win their division every year, and they got nobody in their division.
When was the last time we won a division? I haven't even won yet. My gosh.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, they did get Calais Campbell, but that's I mean, they re-signed a bunch of people, but that's about it. So,
but part of staying successful is re-signing what works, and they have chemistry.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah, but so they re-signed defensive tackle Justin Ellis, and they did get DeAnthony Thomas wide receiver. But these are contracts that these are such minute guys that I agree do make a big difference. Like the safety Jordan Richards, every one of them's like $800,000 contracts, so they're not even. They're not the $15 million. The one they did get, they signed Chuck Clark safety. They signed him to a 3-year deal at $15.3 million.
And even Chuck Clark on any other team probably isn't what you call a great player, but he works in the system that the Ravens, have, and they really maximize his abilities there. So I get you. I don't think the Ravens have a ton of major talent on that team, but they work well together, and they have probably the most dynamic player who certainly over-succeeded what I thought he was going to do.
He's a pretty talented kid.
Yep.
He's pretty – and he's
He can run, Jeff. I'm still not sold on his passing. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's not – that's the thing. That is what will kill him right there.
I'm not sold on his passing.
And this is why they won't do as good as this year, because teams will be prepared for that this year.
Dude, I get it. Players can have good seasons. We can go down the list of great quarterback. Scott Mitchell had a great season one year. Elvis Grbac had a couple good seasons. So not to that level, but if
I don't think so.
Tennessee drew up the plan, the blueprint on how to stop that kid, and if he doesn't adjust back,
and he won't adjust, his whole gameplay is either throw it a yard and hope his guys run, or he runs it for 20 yards.
Did you guys?
They will get shut down.
Michael Vick for a 3 to 4 year.
Yeah. Okay, but Michael Vick's not a Hall of Famer. But Michael Vick, he
not a Hall of Famer. We're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, I'm not a Ravens fan in the least. I don't like him even a little bit. That dude was awesome this year.
He was. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking long term.
Well, I agree with you there. I just like running backs. Then, if you're a running quarterback, you
right,
4 to 6.
That's what he can't do. First off, he can't throw to the outside. Okay, he can't throw to the sidelines. Watch his sidelines throws. He puts nothing on the ball, and his accuracy diminishes significantly.
So if you're
Inside the
throwing to the
package-
sideline, it better be the fourth freaking option because
But
no
it's-
one.
But it's no, that's
That's
not
the only
always the
option,
case. They
though,
throw
other
to the
than the
sidelines
1 yard
all the
dump out in
time.
front of him.
That's not true.
His only play is a 1 to 2 yard
First
dump
off,
out in front of him and let the guy
playoff
run.
was a sideline throw, which was his first read, and it got picked, and they ran it back. He can't make that throw yet. Maybe I don't know. I'm with you.
He's not a passing quarterback by any means.
Yeah,
but
he
we'll
was
see.
MVP, no doubt about it. Nobody else was even close.
I agree. There you go.
I agree. He was. He had a great.
He was the best running back in the league. I agree.
He had one of the great offensive years in history of the NFL.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did.
Yeah, Miguel, we are. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Buffalo Bills. They signed a few guys. They signed cornerback Josh Norman to a deal, but the big one that they got here was wide receiver Stephon Diggs from the Minnesota Vikings and a 2020 7th round pick. They got back they gave up a 5th round and 6th round pick this year and a 4th round pick next year.
The only reason we're not talking about that trade as being huge is because the DeAndre Hopkins trade was huge.
Yep.
What do you guys think of Stephon Diggs? I think he's more trouble than
he's one of those that comes with baggage for sure. But I'm a Vikings fan, not first, but I am a Vikings fan, and they are just I like the team. I like the chemistry they had, but he does have some tendencies to be a troublemaker, opposed to just keeping it all about football.
And the other thing with him,
he is talented.
Is he? I see talent in him. I mean, he went to Maryland, so I know the guy. He went to the University of Maryland. That's where Stephon Diggs went. So I've seen him play. I think he's a very good wide receiver, but I don't know that he's. Is his talent worth the trouble?
No. So I bet he's a top 20, or I'm guessing. I didn't look. I don't have a list, but I bet he's a top 20 talent as a receiver in the league, which is good enough to be a number 1 almost everywhere.
Miguel.
But so elite talents are great. With that baggage, no, I wouldn't want him on my team. But he's really good.
He'll help them.
Yeah, for sure.
He's an upgrade for the Bills on the field, not in the locker room.
Right, and they might win the division this year. I know.
Yeah,
they might. They might.
We're not there.
Very true.
Does anyone name the Patriots quarterback? The answer to that is no. So I think I might be with you.
I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah, but I think so. I mean, there's a long way to go. We haven't had a draft.
Yes, absolutely. Injuries come up. You never know, but it's possible.
I'm going to try to speed these up just a little bit here, just so we can get through them all. But now we're going to move on to the absolute implosion of the Carolina Panthers. Everything from their coach to the retirement of Luke Kuechly to the worst quarterback in the league in Cam Newton not deciding whether he wants to play or not play. And now they've brought in their best option of Teddy Bridgewater to a 3-year, $63 million contract. And they even released on Terry Poe. I mean, they released their tight end, Greg Olsen. They gutted everything from head coach down, and they're going to be terrible.
Right. And actually, Jeff, Cam Newton is an example of a 1-year wonder.
I totally agree.
You know, 1 year.
Honestly, here's the problem. I don't even think it's a 1-year wonder type thing. I think it's a oh my god, this guy can run this year. Now next year we got to figure out how to stop him. It's the running quarterback. It lasts 1 year, and then they figure you out.
I would say 3 or 4.
If you're really special, yes, I agree, Jeff. If you're really special,
Steve Young, Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson,
Randall Cunningham.
Difference is though. I believe some of those guys could throw the ball though too.
Lamar could throw the ball.
That remains to be seen.
14-2. Why am I defending a team?
Because the best running back in the league, and he doesn't have to hand it off to anybody.
What was his name?
Who?
That best running back you keep mentioning.
Yeah, it was Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Okay.
But he wasn't the best quarterback in the league.
No, he's not the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
He wasn't even the best quarterback in the league, but he was MVP because he did the most for his team, because he was the best running back in the league, and that'll get shut down this year. It happens every time somebody has a running quarterback. It lasts 1 year, and then they stop him.
He definitely did. He was like 48% of the Ravens' offensive scoring.
Yeah, I'd take him.
I wouldn't.
I bet you would. Who else you got?
That's because we
They
took your
called
guy.
me. I said no.
We'll get to you in a minute. So yes, the Carolina Panthers are going to be hurting pretty bad. Then we move on to the Bears, and they've made not quite a whole lot. They did sign Jimmy. What? Hang on. They fired their offensive coordinator. They re-signed. They did sign Demetrius Harris, their tight end, to a deal. They did get Prince Amuka Mara. I can't remember whatever his name was. They released him. I'm sorry. They released him. They did sign Jimmy Graham. They signed Robert Quinn, who's a defensive end. But the big one that they got here, and this is what will make them contenders this year, is they signed Nick Foles at quarterback. And that's going to make all the difference for them because Mitch Trubisky was not doing it.
I love Nick Foles.
Me too.
Love Nick Foles.
The Colts were looking at him, and I was excited.
Again, could my boys have a quarterback, please? That would have been great. I would have been ecstatic. I love him. I think Trubisky was one of the worst draft picks since Ryan Leaf. But what are they doing? What are they doing? I love watching the Bears be stupid. So.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Nick Foles does for them. I don't think Nick Foles is a great quarterback at all, but he's a good quarterback. He'll manage the game well. Very seldom will he lose the game for them. He won't be the guy that loses it for him. He'll help the Bears.
I think they have bigger issues. I love Foles. I don't like Trubisky. It makes no sense to me. They've got other issues.
They need 2 years to bring in all the parts and pieces to help Foles.
And Foles will be done by then.
I agree.
So it's a dumb move, especially when they have a quarterback who they put all those resources into, and he's still young. I love Foles, but it makes no sense.
Then we move on to another one that might compete with Carolina for the worst team in the league, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals, who don't do anything any year, and they didn't do anything except assign a franchise tag to AJ Green, poor guy. And
I didn't notice. I didn't see they did that.
Yeah, they assigned a franchise tag to him. They picked up a couple. They picked up an offensive guard. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. It's like Suafio or something like that. And then they picked up, or they signed a cornerback too, Mackenzie Alexander. So they didn't really do a whole lot outside of that.
Talk about a franchise that just can't get out of its own way.
Yep. I heard they want to hire Sam Wyche, and I am kidding, but that's how long it's been since they've been good. Chris Collinsworth is more famous for being an announcer than their best player in the last 20 years or so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a time when they went to the Super Bowl with Boomer Esiason, Chris Collinsworth, Sam Wyche, and they almost won the game. It took a last drive by Joe Montana to John Taylor. I think it was John Taylor or Jerry Rice to win that game 20-16. I'll never forget.
Yeah.
So they're
crazy.
They're pretty.
And I always
bad.
liked Andy Dalton. I always felt bad for him because I always thought, he's not elite, but I always liked him.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Andy Dalton.
I did too. And there's rumors that they may be looking to trade him, but we'll see.
5 years too late, Mr. Dalton.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So then we move on to an interesting story in the Cleveland Browns, and I can't figure out what they're doing. But here's what they did do: they fired their GM and John Dorsey. They fired their coach Freddie Kitchens. They fired offensive coordinator Todd Monken, and they fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes. So they fired everybody at the top and tried to start over again. These guys had the pieces to try to do something, and it was all sporadic, and they did not make it happen. So in the offseason, they signed a new safety, new defensive tackles, a quarterback. They signed a wide receiver in JoJo Natson. Not the greatest, but they're making a few.
They're fine at receiver.
Yeah, but the one big rumor I did hear. They signed Austin Hooper, which is probably their biggest signing to date. But I heard they were in talks. They were in talks to get Phillip Rivers. They lost, thankfully. But they're looking for a good quarterback now. And I heard there's some names being thrown out there. So
see, here's my thing with Cleveland. Cleveland's quarterback's good.
I think so too.
Receivers are good. They have a good team. Well, he's not great, but he's good. And here's the thing.
You said good, yeah.
Their issue was Freddie Kitchens. Should never have been hired as a head coach. That's what cost John Dorsey his job. Because
John Dorsey's the only one in that whole group I mentioned that I thought deserved to stay. But he was responsible for bringing in Kitchens.
Freddie Kitchens, who had never been above He had never been above the 1 year as an offensive coordinator. Before that, he was nothing more than a lines coach. And now all of a sudden, he's a head coach.
But listen to this, though. Now you brought in Andrew Barry as a GM who hired Kevin Stefan. I can't ever say his name. Whatever it is. You hired him as the head coach now, too.
Right back where we started.
Exactly.
I get it.
There's a lot of big-name coaches out there. There's a lot of big-name coaches that have coached in the past and now are offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators. There's a lot of big-name people out there. I don't get what Cleveland keeps trying to do when they've made such great strides to get good people, not to put them in the front office.
The last offseason, they made all their moves. They went big, heavy, all in on their offense. They love Baker, obviously. They brought in the 2 receivers. And I don't care who the GM is. The guy doing the stuff there is Paul D. Podesta and the owner, who I can't think of his name. And I like what they did this year if they believe in what they did last year. They had some weird things going on, and their season was over in a blink. And I think they still believe in what they did the previous offseason. So I think they're trying to stand pat, get into the draft, retool with some players. We'll see. I don't know that I believe in it. I'm not sure I believe in Baker Mayfield yet. But they did lead the league in really annoying commercials last year. So
yes. I will say this. If the Ravens don't go 14-2, they may have kept everybody because they probably would have thought they had a shot at winning the division.
Possibly.
The Ravens ran away with it, so they just gutted it. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I think it's better for them because I don't think Freddie Kitchens was the right call. I don't.
Yep.
I mean, clearly not.
So now we move on to the team that might have made the greatest move of everybody, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. They fired Jason Garrett, finally, 8 years too long, and defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli. They brought in Mike McCarthy. You couldn't see, that's what I'm talking about. Cleveland could have gone after somebody like Mike McCarthy.
I love that hire.
But, yeah, Mike McCarthy is incredible. And Mike Nolan is a defensive coordinator. I mean, come on. That's a dream team right there. Made an incredible move. They franchised Dak Prescott. They re-signed Amari Cooper. They signed Gerald McCoy, defensive tackle, which is really good. Mm-hmm. They signed Clinton Dix to a good undisclosed.
Fun to say, so there's that.
Yeah, what's that?
Just fun to say, so that makes me happy.
Exactly. I think he's not bad either. I think he's a pretty good.
Well, we lost Jones, so
but, yeah. And they re-signed Kai Forbath, their kicker, which in this day and age is a pretty big deal.
I mean, I actually like him, but I mean, it's
but what they did they kept the people they needed to keep, and they made an incredible upgrade at coaching.
I mean, I didn't believe we could. I didn't believe we could keep Dak and Amari and Byron Jones, but I'm very sad we lost Byron Jones. Yeah. He's misunderstood. He doesn't he doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't get any picks. He's elite. Nobody throws where he is. Nobody. Look at the stats. It's unbelievable. So we're going to miss him. We need a safety. We tried to get the stud safety from the Jets. I can't think of his name right now. And I hear they're still trying to get him. I'm worried about the defensive secondary. I love the McCoy pick. You need defensive line studs. We've got a bunch. Mm-hmm. I like our offensive line. It's getting a little old. Elliott's getting a little old. I think they franchised Dak because they might do it one more time, and I bet they cut bait. I bet they Kirk Cousins him because it's going to be too expensive.
Yeah.
I guess for me,
back, but this means he's not coming back long term. What does he want? $50 million? Come on.
Yeah, but that's the other thing too is with Dak Prescott, he's fine. I have they won a playoff game with Dak yet? They won one, right?
One, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. I'd have to.
But I don't think that's necessarily Dak. I think that's Garrett. I think Garrett finds a way. I understand the players play.
Right. He is. Look, he was the lap boy to Jerry Jones. He was the yes man.
And
that changes this year. We're going to find out whether Dak was part of the problem or part of the solution because you got the right coach, you got the right defensive coach, you got the right people in line.
If Dak doesn't perform, McCarthy will replace him.
Well, but
when you franchise your quarterback, you're not thinking long term. Yeah, and I actually agree with it. I don't love it because I like Dak, but I think this year, I think next year, 30 this year or whatever, 34 or whatever the math is, he's not going to be worth 38, 40. I mean, I guess the market is what the market is, but they're going to draft somebody this year or next, and that's what it goes.
You've got to be a consistent winner and somebody who's putting up very, very good numbers to ask 30 to 40 million a year.
The other thing, and I meant to say this and I forgot, I apologize to dive in there, Walt. The other part of this that they might be doing is Jerry Jones is obviously on the competition committee, whatever it is that makes the rules.
Right.
And maybe he knows something that we don't know about the whole salary cap issue. Because if the salary cap is relative to what it is now, you can't afford to put that many resources in a $45 million one player, whoever it is. And I love Dak, but he's not the best quarterback in the league. He's top 10 is even stretching, and I like him. So you're not going to pay him 40, 45, 50. So maybe, I mean, he can afford it, but you can't afford it within the salary cap. So
Right.
maybe there's something there.
That's a lot of salary in one guy
Too much.
who isn't a game changer. He's good. Don't get me wrong.
He's really good, but he's not better than, you can name 5 people pretty easy. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the Denver Broncos. They made some interesting moves. They released Joe Flacco, who I have always thought is a terrible quarterback. I'm glad they finally released him. He didn't even pass his physical. That's why they released him.
I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah, it was a failed physical. They did pick up Melvin Gordon, running back, for a 2-year contract. They did that yesterday, actually. So they picked up Melvin Gordon, which has potential to be good, but it's another one of those if he stays healthy, if he plays. Outside of that, they didn't do a whole lot. So those are the 2 big moves. They signed quarterback Jeff Driscoll, which is Jeff Driscoll. So the day after they lost Flacco, they signed Jeff Driscoll.
In the league.
Yeah.
Who is their likely starter? I don't know.
Honestly, I have no idea. No, is it the one boy that was there that went to Houston and came back?
Wait, well, the kid. What about the kid that took over for Flacco?
That's what I'm talking about. What's his name?
I can't think of his name.
I'm not remembering who that is.
That's terrible that I don't remember his name.
Maybe
I liked him. I thought he was good. I liked him. He needed to grow up, and he got shipped out, and he came back. So I can't remember who he is. Anyways, that's where they are. Detroit Lions. This just in, breaking news. They're still terrible. So they signed J-Ron Curse to a 1-year contract.
Drew Lock, by the way. Drew Lock is the name of the guy in Denver.
Oh yeah, I like Drew Lock. I forgot.
Drew Lock. That's right.
I totally forgot.
Okay, so I'll say this about Detroit. Again, it's a team that cannot get out of its own way.
Yep.
This is a team that has talent. They have Matt Stafford. They've had wide receivers. They had Megatron. They've had opportunities to be good, and yet they can't hire the right coach. And they can't hire the right GM to give you the right coach.
Yep.
It's just a train wreck. And I like the Lions. I would love to see them win.
You know what their best move was? They re-signed Danny Amendola. That was the best they could do.
And he's
drafting Barry Sanders in the 80s.
Well, I meant this year.
Barry Sanders is one of the greatest running backs of all time. But even then, what did they put around him?
Yeah.
Turkey.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's the Detroit Lions. Green Bay Packers didn't do a whole lot either. They did re-sign Mason Crosby, which may or may not have been a great choice. The big thing here that they did, I guess if you want to call it big, they released Jimmy Graham and re-signed Mercedes Lewis. So that's about all that the Green Bay Packers have done.
They're all about old tight ends. I like it.
Yep. So
Green Bay will be competitive again. They'll probably be right there for the division.
Usually they do, but they didn't need to make a whole lot of moves.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's
so
nice when you have that guy quarterback in your team.
I hate that guy.
Now we come to the Houston Texans, who first off demoted Romeo Crennel. I don't know what they demoted him to, but they demoted him. But the big thing here with the Houston Texans is they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins and brought
their coach and their general manager. He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, he doesn't know it yet. Exactly. None of us do. But I mean, this is where they went to. They traded DeAndre Hopkins away and picked up David Johnson and then signed Randall Cobb.
What's up, Zip? Welcome in. Good to see you. Kay Atwood as well. I'm sorry. I just want to say hi to Jackie RB into Disney. Kay Atwood.
What's up, everybody?
Disney World Freak. Zippity Doodad. Avery. My apologies, guys. Thank you all for being here.
We're in a heated debate tonight. Not a heated debate. Heated discussion.
No, not really. I think we're doing
let me not say heated. Interesting discussion.
I was surprised about Randall Cobb. I mean, he's not elite. He's a third receiver. He's serviceable. I liked him. He loved living here. He was very popular.
That was their I mean, don't get me wrong. Will Fuller, if Will Fuller stays healthy, that's okay. He's a decent. I honestly think he's a pretty good wide receiver. But your solution to replace DeAndre Hopkins was to get Randall Cobb.
Zip said it. I mean,
yeah, Mike, they're off their rocker.
No, yeah, for sure they're off the rocker. And I guess who's not complaining? Me.
Right? Because are you a Colt? You told me once. I don't know. Who's your favorite team, Steve?
Right now, it's the Colts.
Okay, there you go. I thought. Okay, I'll shut up.
But I'm going to start. I was going to start rooting against them if they kept Jacoby Brissett. They signed him to which they did sign him to a 2-year degree or something like that. But if he'd have been their quarterback this year, I'd have rooted for somebody else. Would have been New England. Now it would have been Tampa Bay. But we'll get to that in a minute.
We're almost there.
Or not? It would have been New England, not Cleveland. All right. Next up is my guys, the Indianapolis Colts, who I think have made some pretty good moves in my opinion. First off, they got Phillip Rivers, a 1-year contract. I don't even care if it's 1-year contract. I would rather have an old quarterback every other year. Just give me a new quarterback every single year than to ever have Jacoby Brissett be my starter again. He was terrible, and I don't know what they were thinking about it. And I almost thought Chris Ballard, other than the fact that the guy's been absolutely amazing at GM, I would have said he deserved to get fired if he would have kept Jacoby Brissett as our quarterback. Yeah, the guy's terrible. What's that?
He had to do something.
For sure. But the biggest move I think we did, number one, we re-signed Anthony Costanzo, who's the left tackle. The Colts are the only team in the league that started the exact same offensive line all 16 games last year. And they were ranked in the top 2 or 3 in the league as the best offensive line. That's going to be huge for Phillip Rivers.
You know what that tells me?
What's that?
Get some new linemen.
Well, we will, yes.
Seriously.
But they're going to get worn out. I get it. But what that tells me is they got the ability to protect Phillip Rivers for 1 year.
I bet they draft one high.
So, we'll see. But the biggest pickup they got, in my opinion, was defensive tackle DeForest Buckner from the 49ers. Yeah. And they gave up that one pick this year, number 13, that they were supposed to draft a quarterback with from Alabama. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the move that they made because if the quarterbacks weren't available, we would have gone after a defensive tackle anyways. We're not going to get one better than DeForest Buckner in the draft.
I agree.
Okay, let me ask you this, Steve.
Yes.
Here's my opinion on this as a Colts fan, and I want your objective, not your blue opinion. Your objective.
I'll be the first one to tell you that the Colts make some bad moves.
Okay. Well, here's my thing. You need a quarterback for the future. It's always about the future, okay? Do they think they're that close? If you're not that close, why would you even go after Phillip Rivers? Take the 13th pick, draft the quarterback, and move forward because you win in this league with quarterbacks. And if Phillip Rivers is a 1-year Band-Aid, unless you think you're going to win your division and make a run at it, it makes no sense.
I think, number one, they 100% for sure. I think they think they're going to win the division this year.
Okay.
I think the one team I think that might be good to stop them is Tennessee, but it won't be Houston for sure. And I think the Colts
pretty
that's just my point. I don't understand signing a 40-year-old quarterback unless and
38
13th pick unless you think we're going to make a
hold on. The 13th pick was not a part of Phillip Rivers at all.
Right, but still gave it up.
Well, because they got DeForest Buckner. I would have taken that deal all day long. Now, there may be somebody else they're looking in the draft. They might have. I mean, Chris Ballard is pretty intelligent. He's got to have a plan for the future. There's got to be something going on that he's going to be working on. We'll find out in the draft if it's this year or if it's going to be next year. But there will be a solution to that problem. But I think it was a good move for them.
I don't think the pickup of Rivers has anything to do with who they draft. I think if they have somebody,
and I agree with what Miguel just said too. Colts were not going to get one of the top.
I don't think so. I think you can get a quarterback at 13.
You can get lucky.
Quarterbacks that look real good. They're going to be late round 1, even 2. There's some guys that look real good that aren't named Tua, and the guys at the top. Well, I got to speak to Rivers. Phillip Rivers is one of my favorite players of all time. Yep. I'm a Chargers fan. I'll always be a Chargers fan.
I think my arm's stronger than his.
I love Phillip Rivers.
He loves to sling the ball.
Rivers was below average last year.
Yep.
I'm a former right-handed quarterback. I could throw it harder left-handed than this right now than Phillip could last year. I love him. I love him. He's done. He looked horrible.
Is he done or was he fed up with the Chargers?
I don't know.
We're going to find out.
He looked pretty bad. I watched him more than
he is excited. Not that saying that if his arm's junk is not going to fix his arm, but he is. I think a lot of that had to do with He has not been happy there for years.
Correct.
So we'll see. And I'm not condoning it by any means. If he was sandbagging because of that, or if the frustration, and I get it, if you're frustrated day in and day out with your players and everything else, you're not going to perform well. You're just going to be over it.
But respectfully, I doubt it. He's insanely competitive.
Yep.
I think most people in the NFL aren't going to think that way, and I know that Philip Rivers isn't. He's going to die on that field. I love him as a man. I love him as a quarterback. I think he looked real bad last year.
He did, and we'll see. We'll see if he rejuvenates. I was excited to get him.
I'm being a fanboy here. Walt told you not to be a fanboy. I'm going to be a fanboy. Well, I want him to retire in the powder blue, but whatever.
I was ecstatic.
I did too.
I was ecstatic to get him. I was ecstatic to get him.
But it makes me feel bad because if somebody says, "Hey Jeff, you want to play here for $25 million?" I'd go to Greenland for anything.
Yeah,
and Miguel makes a huge difference too, or Miguel makes a huge point too. They might have had the worst offensive line in the league, and the Colts had the best. So that's going to be a big deal for him.
And that could be part of it because he was throwing into coverage. He was making bad decisions. Yeah. Guess what? 1,000. Oh, I got to throw it. So
he's going to have time to throw this year. We'll see how it goes. We'll see.
You might be right.
Jacksonville Jaguars didn't make a whole lot of moves. The big thing that they did is they got a 2020 fourth round pick in exchange for Nick Foles. I mean, I'm not sure that they got the better end of that deal. They also got a
fourth round's pretty good.
They got rid of Foles.
I'll take a fourth round for Nick Foles.
I would.
Really?
And I like Foles. I would.
And I like him, but
I don't know if I would have.
You're
not going to get much more.
Yeah, not at all.
And Zip is completely wrong. But the Nick Foles is okay. The big thing that they did here is they lost Calais Campbell, and that's gonna be huge for them. So they were at the bottom of the league anyways. They're gonna go farther at the bottom of the league now.
They traded their stud DB last year, right? The head case.
Jalen Ramsey's with the Rams.
Ramsey, thank you. Yeah.
And then we move on to the Kansas City Chiefs, who honestly, I don't think they did anything. There's only 3 transactions, and I don't even know who a single one of them were.
They were busy with a parade or 3.
They were busy with the parades.
Somebody said it Zip said it in the chat back to back. I gotta heartily disagree.
I'll hardly, I think it was a fluke. Now I'm not saying. Let me say, when I say this, people don't understand what I'm saying. They're a good team. They were not the best team in the NFL last year.
No, that was the Ravens. They were 14-2.
I wouldn't even say. Well, no, I don't go by records either because sometimes things happen, injuries happen. They were not the best team in the league.
Who was that?
They got the easy road through the playoffs. I thought I would have taken. Honestly, the 49ers were the best team in the league. The Baltimore Ravens were better than them. The Green Bay Packers were better than them.
The Saints were better than the Packers.
The Saints were better. There was a lot of teams that were better than Kansas City. Kansas City played well going into the playoffs. They got a favorable way through the playoffs, but they beat the teams they had to beat when they beat them. New England losing their last game to the worst team in the league, giving Kansas City a bye first off, and then the Tennessee taking out Baltimore. I mean, they couldn't have asked for anything better to happen.
So I love you. See, I'm what Zip said. I love you, and I hate the Chiefs. That's a freaking good roster, dude.
Oh, I didn't say it was. I didn't say they weren't good. I said there was at least 5 teams that were better than them.
If Lamar's not the MVP, and he was, but if he's not, it's Patrick freaking Mahomes.
Just so you're aware.
That being said, it's so hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls.
I agree too.
That's going to happen.
I agree, but I will say this: I'm saying all that and saying Patrick Mahomes was the MVP of the league last year.
I mean, that I could listen to that argument, but look, I want to root for my Chargers. They're going to win the West. They being the Chiefs. Who's going to be a bigger favorite to win? I mean, you can't really say. So many things happen. It's hard to say you're going to repeat. To say, they're not going to repeat because hardly anybody repeats. Yeah, that's easy. Mm-hmm. They're more likely to win the AFC than anyone else not named the Ravens, who you think both seem to think are going to not have a good year, right? Who would more likely be the AFC?
To be honest with you,
but on paper means nothing to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think on paper either.
You had to tell me. So I'm going to ask, who is the most likely AFC representative in the Super Bowl?
Kansas City on paper.
That's right.
Yeah. I honestly
think
who
wins on paper?
Well, you got it, but that's what we're doing. We're saying.
But here's the thing.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is their chances of winning back-to-back are very hard. That's it. Because
I totally agree with that, but their chances of winning are better than everyone else in the AFC.
I think the AFC this year, and you're going to think I'm joking, I think you're going to see Tennessee in the Super Bowl this year.
I like Tennessee. I don't think Derrick Henry 2020 is going to be Derrick Henry of the second half of 2019.
I agree.
You know how I feel about running backs. I've said it pretty clearly. So that I'm more worried about that than the can they repeat? I mean, part of the repeat thing is just the odds of it,
Yeah.
But
it's very hard.
But Derrick Henry is a beast. If he can give you 18, 19 more games, I like Tannehill. I've always liked Tannehill. That was a great pickup, and boy, did he make the best of it. And I mean, I like their coach. I like both of their lines. Hey, Zip.
Oh, Zip, thank you for that. He didn't have to do that.
I love it.
I know, he's just trying. I'm ignoring everything he's saying because he's way off base. He's way off base tonight. So
thank you, Zip. Well, he's got his opinion.
Everybody's entitled to their opinions.
How come I'm defending the Ravens and the Chiefs, and I hate them both? What are you guys doing to me?
I hate them both too. I'm just being a realist. That's all.
Who's next?
You're crazy.
Oh, Miguel, I never said the Dolphins are the worst team in the league, buddy.
No,
I did.
I said Detroit was the worst team in the league.
I did. I love you, Miguel.
Jeff said.
Hey, they won
Jeff said they're
7
the worst
games
team in the
last
league.
year.
The first half of the year, they were the worst team in
But
many
they
years.
weren't the worst team in the league.
First 8 games, they were the worst team.
Well, they weren't the worst team in the league.
Well, I mean, that goes back to I did say hold on. I did say they're the worst team in the league because at the point in time they won 2 games and they beat New England, which set up Kansas City for their dream run. So I did call them the worst team in the league. Yeah, he is right. I did call them the worst team in the league.
They won 7 games. I can't. That's
who did
awesome.
Miami,
or they win 5.
They won 3.
No.
Their third win was against. Yes, their third win was the one when they beat. I'm pretty sure they only won 3.
Well, now I'm gonna look because you guys are got me.
Now I gotta look too.
I know what all 3 of us are doing.
I thought their third win was against the Patriots in the last game.
I'm trying to pull it up on my internet.
As everybody,
5.
They were.
Y'all says 5. Okay.
They were 5-11. So they were 4-11 going into that game. They won their 5th game.
Oh, they won 5 games. That's 5.
Rephrase it. They won their last 2 games though. So they had only won 3 going in, and they won their last 2 games. One of those was against the Patriots somehow, and they weren't depleted.
I remember in the beginning of the year, somebody said that Miami wasn't going to win a game, and I said it's so hard to win them all, and it's so hard to lose them all.
Yep. And then, so then we go to the Las Vegas Raiders, which is weird to say.
They've been making crazy moves.
They have been making crazy. So they've been all over the board here. Nothing massive, but they signed Richie Incognito, which I know the guy's got issues, but he's a good left guard.
We just ripped the Stephon Diggs going to Buffalo thing.
I did again.
I would never take Incognito was on the Rams for the longest time. He was terrible. I wouldn't. I gotta agree with you.
I think his off-field antics will mess with his play.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I think the over/under on that is yes.
Well, I mean, even past ones will still mess with his play that he's playing. So, the big thing they did here, though, they signed Marcus Mariota, which I still think the guy's a decent quarterback. I don't know. I like Derek Carr though. I said decent. I didn't say good. I said decent.
He's talented.
But you got Derek Carr and you got Marcus Mariota. They're better than a lot of the quarterbacks in the league, but they're not great, and that's going to be interesting to see who gets that. Who gets that thing?
But the big division with Kansas City, right?
What?
Yes.
They'll give Kansas City a run.
I think they will give them a run, but I don't think they'll. I think they'll fall 2 games short of Kansas City in the division.
They'll give Kansas City all they can handle this year.
I will agree with you. If
it's too early, guys, I got to see the draft.
If they can figure out the quarterback situation and get a good quarterback going solid, and that's going to be hard.
Be fine.
But the big thing they did here, though, they also signed Jason Witten, the tight end from Dallas. So
I love Jason Witten.
He's alive.
The Cowboys. Sorry. See ya.
Wow. Sure. Is he at the end of his career? Absolutely.
Give me a 4th-round draft pick that I've never heard of right now.
Yeah.
Plus, we just signed our Darwin or whatever, and I'm happy with that.
So we'll see how they do. That's going to be interesting. Then we move on to Jeff's team, the Chargers.
Yeah, baby.
So they assigned the franchise tag to Hunter Henry, which was, I think, pretty decent. They did re-sign Austin Eckler, which I think is a big deal.
Yeah.
But the glaring thing that they've got here is they've not signed a new quarterback.
We're looking at Dan Fouts, I heard. I heard he was in the
quarterback.
Love Dan
So
Fouts.
I think they're going to be okay. They re-signed the pieces they needed to re-sign. Now they got to figure the quarterback situation out.
I'm very intrigued, interested, excited to see what they do in the draft.
Miguel, they're only 2 away, buddy.
I don't know what we've got going on. I would love Tua. I hear rumors. Tua.
What pick do they have this year?
I don't know, 8 or 7 or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but do they have enough to that they could actually trade up to get him?
Sure.
Where are they?
Everybody does. I mean, you just got mortgage rich.
Not everybody.
Look, Tua's going to Miami. So if you can't get past Miami, you're not going to get Tua.
Yeah. I don't have any evidence. I just have I want.
And I want. Yeah, that'd be nice.
and I've got to believe that they're going to look at a quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft. Very honestly, I bet we come away with a quarterback.
That's what I think the Colts are going to do. I think they're going to make another trade during the draft to move up and grab one of those quarterbacks.
I think there's going to be a lot. The draft's going to be a lot of fun. Yep, and apparently it's going to be on TV because nobody's going to be there.
And with nobody in attendance, it's even going to be more fun.
Yeah, it's going to be weird, right?
Nobody to boo Roger Goodell. See, I love Roger Goodell. So
I'll boo. You know what? I'll boo from my couch. How about that?
All right, moving on to the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams. They fired Wade Phillips as the defensive coordinator, which I think Wade Phillips is one of the most admired guys in the league. I don't think he's a terrible defensive coordinator, but they decided to part ways with him.
The record, he's one of the great defensive coordinators ever.
Yeah, they released Todd Gurley and Clay Matthews. Mm-hmm. What are they doing, Walt?
They have no money. They have no cap space.
They don't need either of those guys. Those guys are well beyond their.
Well, hear me out. Trust me. First off, Wade Phillips. It was they're just ready to move on. Okay, he's like 78 years old. He's not young. He wants to go in a different direction. McVay. That's fine.
Ageism.
He is very, very good. I agree, Steve.
He was there to help out the 12-year-old head coach. The 12-year-old head coach is
right. But that being said,
I do love him though.
Clay Matthews, first off, it's a salary dump. They need the space. Gurley hasn't been the same in a year and a half. It's a salary dump. They have no cap space. They're one of the worst teams with cap space. Plus, they gave up their first-round pick and their second-round pick to get Jalen Ramsey. They have nothing.
The 1 and the 2?
Yes.
Wow.
They have nothing. So what they're trying to do is find whatever space they can. Look, they're either going to win with what they have, or they had their window. They had their window. It's that simple. I don't sugarcoat my teams. I don't. I'll tell you like it is. I love them.
Chargers are the best team ever, and so are the Cowboys.
Well,
hey,
whatever
Jeff,
you're smoking,
that's me.
Smoking it.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes,
I can't do that.
Just so we can clarify something here. Zip is asking for a YouTube fantasy football league so he can smoke Steve. Do you want to tell him? Do you want to tell him who won the YouTube March Madness and the YouTube MLB fantasy football?
Yeah, but Steve, I wouldn't admit to that. That may not be saying much.
I'm just saying, I think I know what I'm doing, and I win my leagues around here, so I'll be more than happy to do a YouTube fantasy football league.
I'll play.
Yep. So we'll figure it out.
Fantasy baseball league, and we got a bunch of people in here, and all of our goals are to beat Steve because I can't have him win 2 years in a row.
Well, wait a minute. Did I make the playoffs last year in the fantasy?
You did. You were the 2 seed, I think.
I didn't do anything. Imagine if I had done something.
That's what I'm saying.
I literally, hear me out real fast. I literally drafted the team, and I did nothing else the rest of the year.
Wow.
I know. We know.
I had drafted my team and had so many people on the IR and everything. I had to make moves the entire year.
You have to learn how to draft well then.
I did draft well, but they were all big name. They were all big name people. That's another stream. We'll get to that later.
I've got some plans. We're gonna it's gonna be a nice promotion for some channels. I promise.
Yep. Yes, I heard that there's numerous people coming after me, so that's okay.
19.
I'm not, Steve. I'm not.
19 people.
I'm not, Steve. You're fine.
All right. Now we're on to Miguel's team, the Miami Dolphins. What did the Dolphins do?
Some of the cutest cheerleaders in the league.
Yes. And
that is me making fun of the Dolphins. Miguel.
I guess their best deal was they signed running back Jordan Howard. That's about it.
Well, they have 3 first-round draft picks.
That's where they're going to come into play this year. Is they got a lot of draft picks.
Yeah.
A lot of draft picks. This
and
is
now
their.
that the rain is over at the top.
I think that they're going to get first off. I think they're going to get Tua.
Miguel. What Miguel said.
What did he say?
Byron Jones. Byron Jones is a beast.
Okay. So they got one guy, but that one defensive guy is going to get tired when he's on the field as much as they're going to be on the field.
Doesn't everybody? So will the other 10.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Their entire defense is going to be on the field so much this year.
Yeah,
there's nothing to say about the Dolphins.
But here's the thing.
There's a draft to come, and let's see what they do.
I think they're going to do an incredible job in the draft. I think they're going to get Tua. I think they're going to start the rebuilding process, and next year, I think they're going to be pretty good.
Tua, then they're not doing much this year.
Carlos says if New England doesn't win the division, he'll stream on his shows with a jersey of the winning team and praise them.
Oh, Carlos, you're already setting that up. Apparently, there's no way they're winning. So
I mean,
well, that division isn't the strongest division in the world, Steve. So.
Wait, did he say they're? Oh, I'm sorry. He said their division. I'm sorry. I thought he said Super Bowl. My fault.
He said division.
My fault. My fault.
Not out of the realm of possibility.
I think Buffalo's going to win that division, but New England will be a close second for sure.
I feel like I'm a broken record, but what Miguel said, I agree. So obviously what they're trying to do is what the Patriots were doing, which everybody in the AFC East keeps trying to do, but this might work. They want to play with the two stud corners. They could put Jones in the back at safety, but if they do that with the two stud corners, they can play man. That allows them to be very Belichick-y on defense. We'll see. I
think they're going to be okay this year, and I think they're going to be starting to work on the contending process next year for the division. I would agree
with that just because they have all the draft picks. I want to see who if they draft a Tua and a defensive lineman in the future. If they do some other things, maybe they go for this year. They would be stupid if they went now. They've got a lot of picks. They should be playing for 2021 and beyond. And to me, I'd get an edge for a quarterback if I were them.
Carlos said that the Patriots might go 11-5. Looking at their schedule,
they might go 16-0.
Yeah, but you got to right off the top, they're probably going to have 6 wins just in the division. Yeah. Buffalo may take one. So say they go 5-1 in the division.
Well, Steve, if they go 6-0 in the division, then they're not going to lose the division.
That I didn't say they were going to lose the division. I thought he said going
to win the division.
I said I think Buffalo will contend for the division. I think in the end they may win the division. Because if Buffalo goes 5-1 in the division and New England goes 5-1 in the division, it comes to the non-division schedule of who wins. So,
well, New England's got Buffalo twice, Houston. They've got the Chargers. They got the Rams. They got the Jet. I mean, they got the Broncos. They got the Raiders. They got the Cardinals.
Pretty much all share the same schedule though, in the division.
I was gonna say the division is the division schedule.
Yeah. So they all get to play the same teams.
Outside the division, not everybody will have all the same because
it's within the same division. It just depends on how they fall.
Away to the changes, yeah.
So moving on to the Minnesota Vikings, they re-signed Kirk Cousins, so that's okay. They lost, huh?
I'll say it. I love Kirk Cousins.
I like him.
The only person, not his wife, that loves him, but I love that guy.
I like him too. I think they made more bad moves than good moves here. They lost Stephon Diggs for a 7th round pick this year. I think that's a pretty bad move.
Again, we would be talking about that as a good move if it wasn't for the DeAndre Hopkins trade.
Yes.
You guys talk for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, and then of course, I think the worst move they made here was they re-signed Dan Bailey to a 3-year contract.
He was great in Dallas, but
Minnesota has a terrible history between Blair Walsh and Dan Bailey of missing massive kicks.
Here's the thing: he's a kicker. Who cares?
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Our kicker cost us 6 games last year.
The Cowboys just re-signed a guy who they didn't have on the team until week 12.
Well, who's their kicker?
Kai, whatever.
Horvath or Falber or I can't remember what his name is.
I can't think his name either. My
Fairburn.
We just extended him, and he was a free agent at like week 12 of the NFL season. So kickers are a dime a dozen.
All right, let's move on to the Patriots, and what might be the biggest announcement was not on their hands, but Tom Brady decided, I ain't playing for you guys no more, and he left. Realistically, that's all they've done so far. What do you think about that? And Ben Watson retired as well, but
I think the quarterback situation is everything there. Obviously, their roster is above average. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're still in the AFC East. Obviously, that Bill Belichick isn't golfing yet. So You got to put them at the top of the heap for those reasons alone. Even if I can't name their quarterback, and that's insane, but I really can't. I'm not pretending. I can't think of the guy's name. It doesn't matter. He's not going to be the starter, or he's way better than I mean, maybe I'm just forgetting something. I do think there's plenty of quarterbacks this year. I think there's always plenty of quarterbacks, and I think in that system, he'll probably get somebody. I'm wondering if he wishes he wouldn't have traded off the quarterback over to the Niners, but
Garoppolo. Yeah, I said this a long time ago. Nobody believed me. I thought Garoppolo had the potential at his stage in his career where Tom Brady was in his career. I think Garoppolo was better. Now, some injuries have cost.
Arguable. Brady was Brady in the top 16 quarterbacks last year? He was not.
No.
That's just half of the league is why I picked 16. So I don't know.
But he's also 42 years old.
40.
Yeah.
Do you see what he did in the contract, by the way?
Not a kid.
He's going to be 45 at the end, and do you see what he did? He put in a clause that they can't franchise him, which means he believes he'll be playing at the age of 46.
So the one that I think that they're going to wind up getting, Cam Newton will become available. Andy Dalton, they're looking at him. They're actually looking at Jacoby Brissett again. They can have him.
I can see Dalton or Brissett. I'd be shocked at Cam.
But I think the one that's going to wind up there is Jameis Winston.
Where?
Consider that.
In New England.
Where?
In New England.
I got to be honest. I didn't watch him play a lot last year. I'm not a great big fan, but
good Lord, I hope not. If
he throws the ball, and I don't think he's a terrible quarterback.
Oh, he's horrible.
Last year he had bad. He threw 30 interceptions.
He threw like 50 interceptions.
He threw 30 last year. He's 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions last year. But before that, he was doing good. I mean, he was doing decent. He puts up good numbers, except for his interceptions.
I think
that's a big number.
Oh, I said last year it was bad. Yes, for sure.
Here's what I would say. Every quarterback who's looking for a team, and some who already have a team, hope they get to be the Patriots quarterback. So.
Yeah. Okay, we got to move these along a little bit quicker here. The Saints, they re-signed Drew Brees, and they signed Emmanuel Sanders. That might be
That's a good one.
That's the next best move for them.
And
nothing else really changed.
They kept Hill.
They did what?
They kept Hill. That's the biggest for me.
It's not even on the list.
It's the most important one. I don't care.
Well, he was just a re-sign. He wasn't.
I know they have the re-signs, but he's not even on the list for the re-signs.
It's the most important sign.
Yeah,
obviously, but
so then the Giants they signed Colt McCoy, which is hopefully he's not going to be their quarterback going forward.
I always thought he could do it if he had a shot. I've always thought he could do it, but it's been a long time now.
Yeah, it has been a long time for him. Outside of that, they haven't done a whole lot. They did release Alec Ogletree, which I thought was a pretty decent inside linebacker.
He went to the Ravens.
Yeah, Eli Manning, of course, retired. So they got some work to do there in New York. And then after New York is the Philadelphia Eagles. They fired their offensive coordinator. They got Darius Slay, which is a cornerback from Detroit, which doesn't give you good hopes. No. But they really haven't done anything either. They did re-sign some defensive backs. They re-signed their quarterback Nate Sudfeld.
Still the second best team in the division, though, behind the Cowboys.
I would agree.
Giants are terrible. Washington's terrible.
I would agree. They got the pieces to still be good. That's why I don't think they had to do anything.
Right.
So
he's not done much. He's really not.
If Wentz is an elite, the Cowboys win the division without trying hard.
Yep.
If Wentz is elite, we've got an interesting battle.
They got a heck of a QB tight end combo out there. So
Wentz can't stay healthy. I can't. I wouldn't. I don't trust him.
As a Cowboys fan, I'm glad Wentz is there. As a Cowboys fan, I'm scared of Wentz. Same thing.
Then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who might have got the best steal of everything, and that's they stole the Eric Ebron, the tight end from the Colts, to a 2-year deal. That was now we got to go back to Jack. But anyways, that's all they've really done. They got a few other small ones, but getting Eric Ebron was their biggest pickup.
Well, their acquisition this year, big for them, is going to be Ben Roethlisberger coming back.
Yeah.
Who is their backup? Do they have a backup that?
No, and you could tell by last year.
They have JT Barrett.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The Ohio State kid, right?
Yeah. Going on from there, you've got the 49ers who got the number 13 overall pick from the Colts. I think that was honestly a terrible move for the 49ers, getting rid of some of their defensive players, but they got a good pick for it. They'll redraft. Outside of that, they didn't have a lot of. They did release Mike Person from offensive guard, but they did re-sign Nick Mullins, who's QB, but not a whole lot.
Right.
Yeah, they're a pretty good roster. They're fine.
Yeah, no, they're fine. Yeah, they're
Seattle Seahawks signed Greg Olsen, tight end, which I think was a decent pickup. I don't think he's a bad tight end at all. He's been having to deal with Cam Newton, but
he was trying out to be a announcer. That's
Greg Olsen was?
He was not very good at it.
Oh,
But just saying, he
Jason
thought
Witten
his career might be over.
Jason Witten was too, but he was a great announcer, but apparently can still play a little bit. So
I'm just saying, if you think your career's over, it's
probably over. That's literally all they've done is sign Greg Olsen. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, maybe the biggest increase, and that is they got Tom Brady. I agree, he's not been the Tom Brady of old, but he was still consistent, could still throw the ball, and he has a lot of weapons to throw the ball to.
He has the ability to make everyone in the NFL want to come play for the Buccaneers.
Yes, including who did we mention earlier that I said would probably wind up there?
Everyone who's the current free agent.
It's a massive running back, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, but you don't want all the free agents. You only want the right.
You don't want the right. Yeah,
all the free agents are calling. Hey, Tom.
He's got Mike Evans. He's got who's the tight end there?
Howard.
Howard. He's got a whole bunch of weapons to throw to.
They'll be better. They're going to be a lot better,
and he will make them better players.
I think they'll win 2 to 3 games more than they won last year.
How many they win last year?
It doesn't matter. Whatever they won, I think they won 6 games, 5 games last year.
I know. I think they'll compete for their division.
I think there's a long way to go. The draft hasn't happened yet, but
I agree too. But I think they'll compete for the division.
Come on, who would you pick in the NFC over him? Over them now? Clearly the Niners. Okay.
Yeah.
Packers maybe. Okay.
Packers.
Maybe okay.
Saints.
Saints.
Not bad.
Vikings.
My point is the list is short.
Dallas. No, I don't think it is short.
I think it's shorter than Walt's saying it is, but I do think there's probably 4 or 5 teams that are still
Dallas,
going to be up there.
I'm not saying
Chicago, San Francisco.
Without Brady, they weren't somebody anybody cared about. That they weren't going to be a threat. Now they're a threat. I mean,
I agree.
They're going to sell enough jerseys to make it worth their as well. By the way, as Disney people, are we allowed to root for Tampa Bay? Should I buy a Rays hat? Am I buying a hat? Is it close enough to Orlando? I feel like it is.
All right, Tennessee Titans, big moves here. Number one is they re-signed Ryan Tannehill, which I think is incredible. They franchise tagged Derrick Henry, which is incredible. I think which I guess it wasn't terrible mistakes, but they released Delaney Walker, tight end, who's been a big part of their offense, and Ryan Suckup as their kicker, both veterans.
Up there in years, though. He'd been there a long time. I'm sure it was time to move on there.
For sure. Delaney Walker, the Colts are actually looking at him along with 2 other teams, so I would love it if Delaney Walker came to Indy. But
great career, but I don't see it being a huge loss.
Not probably not for them. But I don't know who they got to replace him. They got Parker Hess. Who?
I don't know either. I'm just saying.
Oh, they did sign Anthony Fersker, the tight end. That's who they got. Anthony Fersker and Parker Hess.
You see what freaking the chat? I love it. See, there's another quarterback, Jake Fromm. He's not a first rounder. If he is, he's the back end of the first round. He's more like a 2 or 3. He could be a great NFL quarterback. There's a bunch of quarterbacks out there.
Tom Brady was a 5th round pick.
Yeah, exactly. I can see Fromm going to New England.
6th round pick.
Tell me Jake Fromm goes to New England and they're not obviously the favorite again. If I'm Jake Fromm's family, that's what I want. But duh.
And then we got.
There's so much to happen stuff.
We have last but not least, we have the Washington Redskins, who are the Washington Redskins. So
I do like their young quarterback. I don't think he has anything around him.
Yeah.
I do think he could be a star in the right.
Daniel Snyder.
Yes.
And
exactly.
Yep. They literally
I'm glad that he's young.
I think their worst move here of everything, number one, they lost Vernon Davis. He retired. The biggest thing here is they released Jordan Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't see that. Really?
Yep. Huh. Which is another one I would love to see coming in Indy. But that's all the transactions.
There you
a
go.
lot of transactions.
That is a lot.
I would like to thank the NFL for keeping my mind off of,
no kidding.
Things this week.
Yep, for sure.
Yep. And with that, guys, first off, everybody in the chat has been very, very interactive. Thank you all very, very much. We have seen all the comments. That's why I'm putting them up there on the screen. So thank you all for the comments. Dean, Dreamers Empire, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. And thank you all for being here. I know we ran over, and of course, Steve, if I'm not mistaken, Shep's going live at 9:30, right?
Yes, he is. Yep. I'm actually already sitting in his lobby. So
yep, and we're gonna get in there now.
Everybody says hi.
First and foremost, Jeff, thank you, buddy, for joining us tonight.
Always love
it. Time.
Appreciate the offer. Always love it.
Always, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for being here. Lots of great insight as usual, and of course, my partner channel right over here, Steve. Did you have a good time, buddy?
I had always an amazing time, and I would love to thank Jeff for coming on. Jeff, you're always full of knowledge. I knew this would be an excellent subject that you would like to be talking about. And also, I would also like to thank everybody in the chat, as well as my little buddy Mason back there for just staying true, giving his proud papa a place to
That's who I saw back.
From. So
I thought I saw movement. Hey, before we end,
he's alive.
Before we end, my wife doesn't want to move to Orlando. What can I tell her? You love it, right? It's the best thing ever. It's the best movie of your life. You can't wait.
Best movie of my life, Jeff.
Paula, are you listening? She's totally.
Yeah, so. It's been great.
This is my jealous face.
But thank you all for joining us tonight. Please head on over to Shep right after us at 9:30. Shep family for a great stream as usual. And again, thank you to Jeff. Appreciate you, buddy. And of course, my partner channel right over here, Steve, and my other partner channel, Disney Dan. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great day, and please take care of yourselves and each other. Everybody, stay safe. Be good.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Bye.